Hi there, it's Aboriginal Sunday, and this is also called Day of Mourning. And I'm going to share my sermon for today. The readings are from Isaiah 9, verse 1 to 4, and then 1 Corinthians 1, 10 to 18, and the Gospel reading is from Matthew 4, 12 to 23. Feel free to pause the video, have a read of those, and start it up again. In the reading from Isaiah, we heard a vision that comes from the time when the Jewish people, the ancient Jewish people, had been divided into two separate kingdoms. And so their enemies saw that they were divided and weakened and were attacking them. But in that situation, Isaiah is still talking about signs of hope in the middle of that devastation. Even as his society is being destroyed, he's talking about the hope that he has that his people in the future will be able to live a good life again. It seems like the world as we have known it is coming to an end, and we're going to have hard times ahead of us. But if it seems like the world as we know it is coming to an end, we have the opportunity to be planting the seeds for the next world now. If we try new things now, who knows what might grow out of what we've planted? What we plant now, when things seem really bad, it could be something that grows during that time of difficulty and grows so that it can nourish the world in the future. Something that grows so that people in the future can live a good life. Something that can distract us from that focus of planting and growing good things is an obsession with the things that divide us. In Paul's letter to the church at Corinth in ancient Greece, we heard him talking about this, people being divided based on who baptized them. I don't think that's the kind of thing that divides us now, but we might be divided based on our theology or our politics or the style of church service that we like. I can understand why that might lead people to think, well, if we shouldn't be divided by politics, why are you talking about political things today? Why are you saying that this is Aboriginal Sunday? Why are you saying that this is a day of mourning? Isn't that bringing politics into church? Isn't that something that's going to divide us? Shouldn't we just keep quiet about those things so that we don't just upset each other? It might seem like we do things in the church like acknowledging country because it's politically correct or because we think that this is the direction our society is going, so we should get on that bandwagon. It might seem like our church has supported things like treaty or the idea of an Indigenous voice to Parliament because we're aligned with certain political parties. I've had people say that to me. But I don't think that that is what we're doing. I don't think that we should be aligning ourselves with political parties. The deeper reason why we've supported these kind of ideas is because in the church we've become siblings, we've become brothers and sisters with Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Christians. Sometimes we forget that, but that is what has happened. And that relationship has informed us as a church on those issues. That's why we've supported things like treaty. That's why we've supported things like the idea of an Indigenous voice to Parliament. So when the Indigenous people in the church raise concerns about how governments like the Victorian government are lowering the age of criminal responsibility to 10 years old, and when Aboriginal Christians tell us about how this impacts them, because a lot of those kids end up being Aboriginal kids, we should be concerned too, and we should be raising those things with our representatives. We should be raising those things as candidates start to prepare for elections. Someone might say, why pursue these matters? We know that people voted no in the referendum. Australia was saying that they don't want to hear about any of this. Australia was saying to us, stop thinking that you can change the direction of this country. But actually, I think that is what the foolishness of the cross that Paul is talking about in the letter is all about. It's what the good news is all about. It's not normal in the world to want to be associated with failure and suffering and humiliation. We shrink away from all of that. We try not to be associated with that. But it's from failure and death that the resurrection comes. That is where something new and good is growing. And it's like that for us too when we've been through suffering and grief. Good new things can still grow up in the middle of the pain. Our call as Christians is to follow this strange fellow Jesus who calls people to turn around and go in a different direction to the one that they've been going in, to turn around and go in a different direction to the direction their society is going and to the direction their history has gone. This is a strange fellow who says that a new society that looks like heaven is within reach. A society where we don't abandon people who've been defeated. A society where we believe good things can still grow. Where we believe healing can happen. So we cast the net of that vision out into the world and we see who catches it.